Hello, everyone. My name is Linda O'Neillafor. I am the author of a children's book titled My Brother Adam. And welcome back to my channel, Mental Health and Wellness. And today I'm going to be doing a video. Now, this video is going to be a follow-up video, part 2 video, about my previous video that I did on Jordan Neely. Jordan was the young man who was murdered on the New York subway. And I did a video talking about him. But I wanted to talk more about why are we so afraid of people that have a mental illness. Now, I have 3 facts. The first one is that people that have a mental illness are more likely to be victims of a violent crime and not the perpetrator. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, the majority of people that commit violent crimes do not have a mental illness. Okay, so that's number 2. And number 3 is people that have a mental illness are more likely to harm themselves than harm someone else. So those are 3 facts about people with mental illnesses. Okay, now, why are we so afraid? What makes us so afraid? What makes society so afraid of the mentally ill? Well, I believe that, when you don't know something and when you don't talk about something, it gets to be like the stigma of mental illness. There's a really, really strong stigma around mental illness. And nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to address it. Let's just say if you have someone in your family that has a mental illness, nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to acknowledge it. Nobody wants to believe it. So anything that you don't talk about, it gets worse and worse and worse. But when you talk about it, it gets better and better and better. And so that's what we need to do. We need to talk about it so we can understand it. So we can understand, what's going on with this person. Why is this person acting this way? Now, when I was in school, when I was in middle school and high school, I took up math, I took up science, I took up social studies, I took up English, I took up gym, I took home economics, but they didn't offer a class on mental health and wellness. Now, can you imagine if they offered a class in grade school, in middle school, in high school about mental illnesses? Everyone would be educated about it. So now when we're in a public place and we see things like what happened with Jordan, if you don't understand mental illness in your mind, you will immediately react. And that's what Mr. Penny did. He acted on what he thought Jordan would do. Now, Jordan was just having a mental health breakdown. He was talking loud to himself. He was saying that he was hungry, he was thirsty, and he didn't have anything to live for. And so I'm sure Mr. Penny was afraid. And a lot of other people were afraid. But the other people didn't put him in a chokehold. It was Mr. Penny that put him in a chokehold. So that's why in my previous video, I tried to stress it how important education is, because people need to educate themselves about mental illnesses. Because if you educate yourself about mental illnesses, then, you'll feel more comfortable when you're around somebody that's having a mental illness crisis. So we don't really need to be afraid of the mentally ill. You know, we don't need to be afraid of the homeless. Now, we need to understand them. We really need to understand what's going on. Now, getting back to the video, you know, Jordan, and I said this in my video, my previous video, I said that Jordan was homeless. He had lost his mother. His mother, she died in a really, really violent way, and her body was put in a suitcase. Now, if he already had a mental illness before that, I can only imagine, you know, what just the thought of that, you know, just the thought of it, you know, what that put him through mentally. That would put anybody through trauma mentally. And so that's why I had mentioned in my video is that, you know, he had a lot of trauma. But what we need to do is just try to eliminate the stigma of mental illness. And the only way we can do that is by teaching people, by educating people, you know, helping the mentally ill, helping them get the help that they need, helping the homeless get the help that they need. You know, we don't have to put the mentally ill in the same category as we do with all the mass shootings that we've been having. You know, like the mass shootings at the schools, the mass shootings at churches, the mass shootings at the grocery store. You know, a lot of those are hate crimes. And a lot of the people that committed those crimes didn't even have a mental illness. You know, a lot of them did it because, you know, especially in the churches, because it was a hate crime. So we can't compare the mass shootings with people that are homeless and are mentally ill. You know, we can't do that, because it's not fair to put everybody in the same category. Because if you look at it on a whole, there's shootings every single day. You know, somebody is shooting someone every day. Not a day goes by that someone didn't get shot. And now with the mass shootings, that happens every now and then. You know, it doesn't even happen that often. It happens every now and then. So if you look at it as a whole, there are definitely more people committing crimes than people committing crimes that have a mental illness. Okay, so I just wanted to give you guys some facts, and just to let you guys know that, you know, there's no reason to be afraid of the homeless and the mentally ill. You know, and as I said in my video, anyone can become homeless. Anyone can have a mental illness. There's 1 in 4 people that have experienced some type of mental illness in their lifetime. 1 in 4. That's a lot of people, 1 in 4. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed my video, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you. Goodbye.